Hi, welcome to the Cosmic Tea. Before you hop into the newest episode, which I'm pretty proud of, I went through a lot of different things, but I know you'll really like it. I want to share with you a holiday bundle that I created for you. It is a bundle of curated, I curated my top 10 workshops over the past 3.5 years. So the first one I ever did was Meet Your Galactic Family. And it was like my blast off into the online space. So it's jam-packed with a lot of energy quantum work. Whether you want quantum healing, kundalini, guided meditation, journaling, mantra, there is all of that in the bundle with each workshop. So obviously addressing somatic healing, attracting abundance, attracting love, bringing in fun and imagination. All of it designed to de-stress and to pull you back from taking external action. And I was inspired by, remember when Kim Kardashian was like, my advice for women, she said in business, but whatever, it doesn't even matter. Get off your ass and work. Nobody wants to work anymore. So I did a little spin where it was like, don't get off your ass and work more, ladies. Sit your ass down and do a workshop. First thing you do when you feel like you're spiraling and you have so much to do and you need to go, sit your ass down and pick one of the workshops in this bundle and do it. 10 for the price of one. Really awesome. So even if you have one or two of the workshops from the years, I made it so that you could still buy it and feel really good about having a handful of others. So it's just a nice way to kick off your new year and have access to that. And they are, with my workshops, you can do them over and over again. You're going to experience new layers every time. So I really hope that you enjoy that. It's my little gift to you just to kind of wrap up the year and say thank you for being here as we journey into 2024 together. So I love you. That is in the show notes. Go grab it. I'm so excited. Okay, bye. Hi, I'm overthinking everything at the moment. That happens. And so what I do to take a healing action step is get myself feeling regulated. So kundalini, matcha, beach, always kundalini. Today it's just a treat that I went to kundalini class, I got matcha, and now I'm looking at the ocean. But regardless, anyway, overthinking, soothe, and then just do it shitty. And I just promised myself to post this after, just to prove to myself and all the aspects of my inner child and the parts of me that believe the inner critic, that it's all good. It's not that serious. It's fun. I'm always growing and going to be teaching and learning and trusting and trust falling. And yeah, so, and I also look at it as my business as this separate entity in a sense, like a vortex. She's a vortex, and I'm serving her. I think one of my first podcast episodes ever, I talked about running the human design chart for my business. And I had gotten that idea from, I'll link her in the show notes, Kiara Marie. I follow her on Instagram. I've done a session with her and her content's great, especially for projectors. I really like a lot of her content. Anyway, so I don't know if she posted about it or where I saw it, but regardless, I got the idea from her to run my business's birthday through human design, and she has her own human design chart, which really goes with how I look at her as an energetic being. And she's a projector as well, which is really cool. So if you're into human design, you'll understand my excitement around this. And it's fun if you have a business or you're birthing a business and you're probably thinking, well, how do I choose a birthday? However, it feels correct for you. So a lot of people, you know, when I was, not a lot of people, why am I thinking like a lot of people? I imagine that, because actually I haven't really talked to anyone about this, but I imagine that a lot of people would resonate with the idea of, when did you form the LLC? Or when did you open the business bank account? Maybe when did you teach your first yoga class? Or when did you give your first paid reading to someone? Stuff like that. I chose my first ever in-person group channeling event. I chose that as the birthday of Kier Grace, and I probably would have chosen the LLC if, when I made my LLC, so my LLC is Kier Grace LLC, but prior to that, so it's a DBA actually, it's a doing business as, under Penelope Russell LLC, which is kind of an umbrella LLC for a few different LLCs. And then I also have Girls Way Riding LLC. And then I what was it? Was it Kier? For a while I had Kier's Nanny Network as a DBA under Girls Way Riding, and like use the same insurance because it was all like child care, blah, blah, blah. But then I forget whatever. Okay, that doesn't matter. But that's why. It's because originally the LLC was named Penelope Russell LLC, and that was made for my dog walking business, which was the shortest stint of a business venture I've ever had. And that's a really good story because it's how I got Bowden. Anyway. What was I? Was I like, damn, this is when I wish I had someone with me to be like, this is what you were originally talking about. Doing it shitty, failure, doing your best, looking at your business as an energetic vortex that you put energy into and you honor and you observe and you do your best to neutralize and open your heart to her and with her. You know, it's like a mirroring. And you know how the idea of external entities, it's a mirror. So I really love that too, where I'm in a relationship with my business. She's going to mirror back at me what I need to see, what I need to feel to get deeper and deeper and deeper to the source within myself. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that in my philosophy, my belief system, that is the point of anything ever. And it can be really fun to create all of these stories and things around it, you know, whatever. It's the mind is so excited by the story and the attachment and the drama. And it's like, all right, fine. Karma's a bitch. But like, at the end of the day, it's always going to be coming back to like just divine remembrance, just one with God, if that word God doesn't freak you the fuck out, which I know for a lot of people it does. For me, it doesn't, but I'm so hyper aware of how affected other people are by it and how in my line of work it can really deter people. And I'm not like super attached to it either way. But like in my own like journaling, in my own brain, it's God. Well, sometimes universe, spirit. But it looks like this just massive energetic matrix vortex. Like in sacred geometry, the, what's it called? What's that one called? I wish I had someone with me to answer me. This is where I need to be like Joe Rogan and have a Jamie. So I want to be like Joe Rogan, but no, scratch that. Do not soundbite that. That's not what I meant. I just mean on the podcast. You know how he has that assistant? He's like, Jamie, look this up. Jamie, look this up. Jamie, what was I saying? I would like to have that situation, but also not really have guests. I don't know if I'm a guest girl. I have never had a guest on this podcast. I've been a guest on a couple podcasts, but I really it doesn't feel super natural to me. It doesn't, for me, it's just, I'm like, I don't know, is this social anxiety or is this just who I be? You know, I've never had a tarot reading where the Hermit doesn't come up. It's my thing. It's who I am. I really function so well alone. And so get podcast guests. Okay. Wow. This is like a little ramble over here. Do you want to hear a story? So I'm going to take a sip of my matcha. If you have that thing where sounds gross you out, just turn it down, because I have that thing. I hate it. 1 second. It starts with an M. It's like misophonia or something. Anyway. So, you want to hear a story? I was at Kundalini Yoga and I overheard 2 women talking who were also attending class. And I didn't hear the whole conversation, but one of the women, I heard her say, she goes, I mean, it sounds insane. I don't think she used the word insane. Like, it sounds crazy or sounds wild. Some word in there like that. That this has honestly changed my life. She's talking about Kundalini Yoga. And the other woman's like, oh, I know. Yeah, like this class, this Kundalini Yoga. And she's like, yeah. And I mean, I've noticed that my reactions are calmer and more stable, and I feel more emotionally stable. And it really stuck out to me because she's using these words that I use, emotionally stable. I think she even said regulated. She said her relationships are better. Like, she's literally saying this to someone at class. And I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. It's so true. It's such a stabilizing force, and highly recommend it. I'm going to actually put a little clip in the show notes. I'll put a link to my favorite Breath of Fire tutorial, like my favorite little Kundalini tutorial. It happens to be, do this every day for 3 minutes and watch yourself get filthy rich. I mean, we all have that big 3D desire of money, so it really attracts people. And then you get to feel Kundalini Yoga. Anyway, and you're like, well, what does that have to do with emotional regulation? What does that have to do with feeling better? Well, obviously, if you're listening here, you do understand. Like, I don't have to talk to you anymore. Not that I ever did. Like, you're just learning the idea of, oh wow, my emotional stability definitely contributes to life, physical reality, and and the quality of my relationships, my mental health, and my relationship to my business and creativity. Like, they all weave into one another. And it starts at your nervous system and your emotional body, those 2 places. So it also reminded me of a story, a woman in my mastermind. I don't love the word mastermind. I'm going to be honest. That's for me to investigate at another time why it gives me the ick in my body. And then I'll sit with that and just explore what I'm attaching to the word. And then if I want to never use it again, or just don't give a fuck or whatever. So anyway, in my Cosmic Kundalini Mastermind, we're about 4 months in. No, 3, whatever. We're halfway through. And shit's been coming up. That's the truth of it. Your higher being doesn't draw you to Kundalini yoga because it's like, yeah, just smooth sailing from here. It brings you in because you're ready to commit to going deep and getting the rewards for that patterning change. You are confronted with yourself in Kundalini yoga. All of the stuff that doesn't serve you is exposed. And then you have the choice to continue the commitment to the practice that regulates you, strengthens you, vibrates you higher, anchors you in, and you face what's coming up. And you face what's not working anymore. And you're like, yeah, I've got this. I am a creator. Because I know what it's like to go through long periods of time where I don't have contact with that feeling, that power pulsing through you. You know what I'm saying. So I also understand what it's like to have gone through periods of my life where it's like I was like, did the universe forget about me? Like, I feel so sad. I feel so disconnected. No matter how deep my practice has been or whatever, like, even for me, I channel aliens. I see all different entities all day, every day, and I can still feel like so heavy in this human experience. I just know what helps. From what I share, what I teach, the Kundalini and the inner child work, all the stuff we talk about together. So, woman in my container shares that her partner comes home and he got fired, which is a big deal. I mean, it actually like tugs at my gut because that's scary as hell for a lot of us. And she said that her initial reaction was, okay, like, we've got this. And that reaction for her is new. That normally would not be like that. And she is prone to anxiety and she's highly sensitive and just precious. That news from her partner, financial insecurity, possibly, and relocation possibly, just so much up in the air that so many of us can relate to. And the fact that from a few months of really committing to this practice, I mean, I really hone in on commitment, daily-ish. Daily-ish. Shit's gonna happen. But like, really, we want to commit to this work and see what happens and trust it. And it happens on, very physical level. It's very somatic. Very regulating, incredibly powerful. To be able to be in the body, be in the moment, feel the feelings. And then be stable enough to make the shifts, to react differently to external stimuli. So I've spoken about this before, how the definitions, karma and dharma. Now, I'm always learning. Could be wrong about anything I say, and I'm always open to, being corrected, especially when I'm talking about Eastern science, Eastern philosophy. I'm as respectful and good as I can possibly be, but please don't hesitate to reach out. But regardless, the idea essentially boiled down to karma being reactive. We're reacting to quote-unquote past patterns, whether you're thinking past lives, parallel lives, doesn't really matter, whatever. Dharma is where we're taking aligned action, not from reaction, but from a higher source, an elevated consciousness. And so her reaction to her partner was from an elevated consciousness that's aware of the possibilities, aware of her power. Now, do we expect that elevated consciousness to be there all the time? Of course not. But it's like you build a muscle. You start to build the muscle. You start to weave the new energetic patterns in your field. That's how I visually see it happening. And then you change I'm gonna mess this up, but I'm just gonna say it so that I can look it up. The samskara, so the patterns, and then I relate that to also like the patterns in the brain, so like cognitive behavioral therapy type stuff. So it's all patterning, and it all comes in to how we react. So what ingredient am I bringing to the table here? The universe is presenting me with this catalyst, right? So the guru, the definition of guru is basically a catalyst that brings you from dark to light, from sleepy, from just in the illusion to awake. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a person. So it's an energetic catalyst, and life is the guru. It is going to show you over and over and over again where you have forgotten, where you have gotten yourself stuck in the finite mind, where you've gotten locked into a dense, grooved timeline. Life is going to show you over and over and over and over and over again. And that is just life. And the practice of kundalini, it helps us hold the space for that knowing no matter what. And that faith, that inner trust, that steady connection to creative life force power is what changes our lives in physical reality. Yeah. So, what am I going to call this episode? What did I even come on here to talk about? Well, I think I might have said something good, but I love you. If I don't talk to you before this, happy Gregorian calendar New Year. Happy Yule. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that was so obnoxious. I'm sorry. Bye.